Tipped in the air and knocked away. KU's got to win it. Blah, big time two-hand slam by Hunter Dickinson.
Kansas is the 2023 WNIT champions.
This is the Jayhawker Podcast, presented by the University of Kansas Health System.
Welcome to another edition of the Jayhawker Podcast, brought to you by the University of Kansas Health System, Latkin Veach, and our brand new sponsor, Xfinity. I am Greg Gurley along with Wayne Simien, and we are joined by a legend, Drew Gooden. Drew, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Just a guy that has done so much. You go back to 1999.
Wow, the 1900s. This sounds so long ago, doesn't it?
One of the greatest,
like medieval times.
I mean, one of the greatest recruiting classes in the history of Kansas basketball. Three guys: Drew Gooden, Nick Collison, Kirk Heinrich. And I don't want to say it like this, but when I remember hearing about all this, it was Drew was kind of the not a throw-in by any means, but Kirk Heinrich and Nick Collison got all the we got this guy from Northern California too. And you look at average 15 and 9 for a career at Kansas. Drew, welcome, and so glad you're on with us.
Hey, I'm glad to be a part of this. Anything that's surrounding Jayhawk Nation, I'm down for, and I'm all in, especially with Wayne and UG.
Give us a little update. We'll get into your career and your numbers and everything you did, but give everyone an update of what you're currently doing to stay involved in basketball.
Well, I've been retired now 6 or 7 seasons. I'm starting to lose count. But I transitioned over into the broadcast sector, so basically crossed over to the dark side like you guys. I'm passionate about it, but really started off just doing pre-game and post-game hits with the Washington Wizards. That was the last team I played with my last 3 years of a 14-year career. So that I kind of had a foundation there, and retiring a Washington Wizard and ending my career in that area, the DMV, Maryland, Virginia, the district, we call it the DMV. And I just knew Wizards basketball. I was fresh off the court. I had good insight. I was still friends with a lot of the guys on the team. I was just basically a outlet or a different type, a unique source, I would say, that was a little different from everything they had already in place. And that became from pre and post to now full-time color analyst, in-game, calling it like it is, and been doing that now for 6 seasons.
Yeah, hey, well, you've been calling it like it is as long as I've known you, and always been a gifted and passionate communicator. Finished with the Wizards, currently working with that organization, but residing in Orlando and getting ready to pull up to cheer on the Hawks, start a new matchup against the University of Central Florida Knights. Excited to hear that you're going to be bringing your son, little Drew, to the game. You've always been great about making an effort to, drop in on the Jayhawks, whether it's back in the field house. Last time we got a chance to kick it was at the Final Four in New Orleans. You, me, and Nick were all sitting together front row, which was a great time. What is it about Kansas? Yeah, what is it about Kansas that makes you want to go out of your way to be able to get your son around the Jayhawk atmosphere, to go and to continue to cheer on the Jayhawks?
Well, this is a unique situation because you got to remember, I believe this is the first year UCF is in the conference. So when I heard that, I've been living in Orlando now for the last 20 plus years now. And when I heard that, it was music to my ears that I now have an opportunity to see the Jayhawks when they come in town in Orlando, my new second home, and with the family, and being able to bring them to a game and not have to travel all the way to Lawrence, Kansas, which Lawrence is a unique experience in itself. But for you guys to come in my home, my backyard, to be here, I'm all for it. I'm excited. I'm going to bring Little Drew to the game. I asked him right now, what college you want to go to? Oh, and he says Kansas, but I'm like, do you really want to go to Kansas, or you just see all this Kansas memorabilia around the house, and you just think it's like it's meant to, like this is. It's like it's not even meant to be. It's like it's the norm. Like this is the standard. You're supposed to be going to Kansas. Now I'm gonna let him have a choice on whatever school he wants to go to. But if it happens to be Kansas, so be it. But he's gonna have his first, I say, unofficial recruiting trip tomorrow versus UCF Knights.
Right on.
So we're looking forward to it.
Well, a couple things, as I do what I do, similar to what you do with Washington. Wayne and I are so fortunate, as are you, in the fact that even away from basketball, you get to stay involved in basketball. You don't have to do all the practice. You don't have to do all the lifting and all that. But the camaraderie of traveling with the team, I just asked you before we went on if you want to come to shoot around, and you have the same opinion I do. I go to 5,000 shoot arounds. It's not as big a deal to me or you or Wayne, but to some, that's access that they get that we take for granted. But the fact that, sometimes the travel sucks, sometimes the hotel's bad, but you're with your brothers, you're with your people you work with, and it just kind of fills a void in your life after your career, which is what all you've known is basketball, and you still get a little taste of that.
It's a blessing. I tell you, it's a blessing to still be in the space of sports, let alone basketball, something I've played professionally in and carved out not only a career, but a lifestyle. And we were just talking before we actually pressed record on this pod. Just 6 months on, 6 months off. It's kind of been my schedule since I picked up basketball. I always had my summers, especially on the bad teams that when we didn't make the playoffs, I'll be done in April. So I even had a little bit of the spring too. But it's just a blessing, I would say, to still be in this space, being able to analyze basketball, something I love and I'm still passionate about, being able to teach the audience now that are at home watching the game, the fans, just keeping them engaged and being informative, and entertaining. I think that's just been the keys that I've been living by when it comes to the broadcast sector.
I think what former players have is an honesty about what's going on. I mean, you're not always just going to be a rah-rah Wizards guy or Kansas guy. When something happens that isn't good, you call it out. And I think you don't always get that. I think former players are way more honest about the broadcast than others.
Yeah, I think it's sorry, I kind of kicked the camera right there. I think it's kind of it's a fine line because I played and I heard other analysts talk play-by-play. I would say broadcast, and it was negative. And then you'll walk past these certain individuals in real time in real space, and it's not the same. It's a different conversation. And I try to keep it genuine. Like I'm around these guys all the time. Like I'm around the team, like you said, the shoot-arounds, the plane, the hotels, practice. If I see something on TV or I'm seeing something in live action in game, analyzing it and seeing what that player can actually do better, and I say it over the air to the audience, I'm going to also pull that player to the side and say the same thing. If I like Denny Avdia, he's a 4-year player now for the Wizards. He's playing unbelievable this season. I always thought he had potential to have more lift in his jump shot. I'm not just going to always talk about him needing to put more lift in his jump shot and not actually pulling him to the side when I see him. I'm like, yo, Denny, I think you need to put more lift in your jump shot. I mean, what sense does that make to me bring that on the broadcast and then see him in practice, be like, hey, Denny, how you doing? And just walk right past him. So it's some type of teaching aspect and kind of keeping it 100 with the players. Their families are watching. They have kids that are watching, family members. Just keeping it a buck, but also keeping it within a frame where you're not disrespecting players. And that's the opposing team too. because I played the game, and as players, if you go back and watch film, you don't want to hear anything that too much negativity surrounding you as an individual, or let alone your team. So, and you also get a bad rap in business. So I try to stay away from that, and just be informative, like I said, and entertain and analyze as much as possible.
Man, I love that you're still teaching and offering insight to those younger guys.
Because I had you as a
I know it right there. You were a big bro. We only got a chance to play together for 1 year before you had it's an incredible junior season, and then went on to the NBA. But of course, you were back sometimes during the summertime, and I consider you big bro, being under your tutelage, and I fully believe that I was able to have the type of career that I was because of playing with a guy like you every single day. One thing that I want to
you were a beast, man. Let me just stop for a second and just give Wayne his flowers. When he came in as a freshman, I mean, he was just already built, like, you know what I mean? He was just built like a grown man coming out of Leavenworth, you know what I mean? I was like, did he go to Leavenworth High School, or is he coming from the penitentiary? You know? he was swole, like. And I just remember the first just the pickup games that we would have during the summertime. And you would come to like Roy Williams's basketball camps, and I knew you when you were a high school kid. But when you came as a freshman, you came in as a man child, and you just had those big hands, and you were able to just do things different than me, Nick, and Eric Chenoweth, and Jeff Carey couldn't just do. You know what I mean?
Gangsta Earl. I remember Gangsta Earl being there.
Well, Les was a different story. When healthy, Les was a athlete as well. But you came with a different physical force, man, and I just wanted to bring that up before you mentioned you coming in your freshman year. But I always saw potential in you, and I was like, man, Wayne Simien is going to be a beast. And sure enough, you got that NBA jersey back there hanging up behind you, sir.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And what all that you just talked about right there, and Greg used the word earlier, it just articulates the real reality, not tongue-in-cheek, brotherhood. Talk to us about that brotherhood as you're going from city to city, night in and night out in the NBA, when you're running into guys like Joel Embiid, or you're seeing an assistant coach like Aaron Miles or like a Jock Vaughn, other guys in media spaces that come from this same type of cable. What is that like kind of across NBA circles? And then is there like a reputation that Jayhawks in the NBA have kind of across the league?
Yeah, I mean, it's a blue blood school, and I don't think you really realize that until you actually leave. And when I left, I was like, oh, it was bigger than just our teammates that we had there at the time. Me, Nick, Kirk, Boshi, you, Aaron Miles, all the other OGs I had, Nick Bradford, Terry Nooner, Les. It's bigger than the guys that you played with. It's a blue blood school. I mean, when you talk about Harvard Medical School or Harvard Law, these Ivy League schools, and Columbia Business School, Stanford. I mean, when it's basketball academia, is that a word? I hope it is. But it is a special place, and you don't realize that at such a young age until you actually leave and the years go on. And at the more and more the winning continues. Recently winning the national championship. I mean, it gets better and better and better, and it ages over the years like fine wine.
You scroll, tap, swipe, text, call, and do a lot more on your phone. None of us can fathom life without all the world's knowledge in our pocket. We use phones for just about everything. But when it comes to doing the bigger things, like streaming, gaming, and working, you shouldn't be limited to just your phone screen or mobile plan. You see, millions of Americans don't have home internet. They're forced to do everything on their phone or through their mobile service via a hotspot. Or they go to public spaces and use unsecure Wi-Fi, which can be problematic when dealing with personal or sensitive information. You deserve reliable home internet that fits your life and your budget. And right now, Internet Essentials Plus from Xfinity is free through the Affordable Connectivity Program. Get unlimited data and equipment included with no annual contract. Go to Xfinity.com/free to see if you qualify. Restrictions apply. After program participation ends, Comcast standard charges, taxes, and fees apply. May not be combined with other offers.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been to another school. Only grew up in Kansas City, played at Kansas, worked there. And I don't know, maybe a Duke, maybe a Carolina, but as you're around, I mean, I love the fact that you're bringing young Drew and Wayne with his kids are always around. We go to Austin, Keith, same way, Aaron Miles, and they're kind of programming our kids, still allowing them to be free and choose what they want. But we're all kind of, both of my daughters went to KU, and I don't know if that happens everywhere because Lawrence is a special place. And it takes guys from Leavenworth. It takes guys from California. It takes guys from everywhere. And that's why it's real to me because, again, we're a melting pot of people from all over the country. They all have one common love, and that's Lawrence, Kansas, and Kansas basketball.
Yeah, but the connection is real. When you talk about the relationships, still having those conversations like with Aaron Miles, Mike Lee, who's a scout for the Golden State Warriors. We hung out not too long ago when he was on assignment in Washington. So Jock Vaughn, I mean, I saw him the last two or three times alone in 1 month. How many times we played the Brooklyn Nets? So, and the fine job he's doing over there. But it's amazing to still have these conversations. Kevin Pritchard in Indiana. I'm not going to be at the game tomorrow, but we play the Pacers on Wednesday. If I was at that game, you don't think me and Kevin Pritchard is going to have a conversation? Yes, we are. So it's just amazing how the connections are still big, not only in the NBA, but everywhere.
Hey, you mentioned Jock Vaughn a little bit earlier. That's one thing that I want to see the Jayhawks tap back into is that California recruiting pipeline with you, JV, P, Adonis Jordan. P is in Paul Pierce. Adonis Jordan. We got to get back to the Cali love, man. We got to find a gym out there in Cali and get it back going because you guys did it.
Who was like the last California recruit?
It was you. You were the last real one, man.
I mean, Roy Williams is there, but I'm talking about like Bill Self. I mean, it had to be somebody from Cali, right?
Man, I can't think. It's been a long time.
We haven't really tapped in. Yeah, KT was usually the California guy.
All of us look right now when we're trying to think.
I mean, Omar Wilkes, he's the last California kid that I remember.
Say like Omar Wilkes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Roy loved West Coast guys. You already named a bunch of them. When you look at Alonzo Jameson, Jock Vaughn, Adonis Jordan, Kirk Wagner, and
Rex Walter.
Yeah, Rex. Jared Haas, California guy. Yeah.
Can't forget
Scott
about
Pollard was Scott Pollard was San Diego. Chenoweth from Orange County. So,
hey, Drew, and I still get on Chuck Hayes because I thought I had Chuck Hayes sold up. Modesto Bay Area had him on a visit hosted. I thought we had another one from the Bay and was locked up, but he peeled off and went to Kentucky, and
we had a lot of, the California dudes are slippery though. You got to watch out for those California.
Oh man, we missed some big ones.
We had
Josh Tudor, Jamal Sampson.
We lost Deshaun Stevenson to the NBA draft because he committed. A lot of people don't know that Deshaun Stevenson committed to Kansas and was ready to sign. Just had some SAT issues, and he said, "Forget it, I'm gonna be a first round pick." And I think he was probably one of the first guys that committed to Kansas and then went to the NBA.
Hey, Nick Bradford told me that we had Baron Davis sold up, and he slipped through the cracks somehow. Can you corroborate that?
You know, when you go to the late night men in that recruiting trip, it's hard to say no. They put the full court press. They put that full court press on you right at the late night. So what you gonna do?
You know, sticking on the brotherhood, I got on my phone and I was looking at pictures of the night of the national championship, 2022 in New Orleans, and I see you in here too. And I want you to talk about how, even from whether it's Larry Brown, Roy Williams, Bill Self, that it's all welcoming. Tomorrow you're going to come to the game, and Bill's going to bring you in the locker room, and just again, I don't think any of us are just so tunnel visioned that we're all Roy or we're all whatever. The brotherhood has taken over, and Bill's done an amazing job.
Amazing
of
job.
welcoming everyone.
Amazing job. So amazing that I feel like I played for him, and this is a real answer. I feel like I played for Bill Self, and I forget sometimes. Hold on, I played with Roy. The relationship that we have throughout the years, he's just genuine. When I text him, he's responsive. He responds right back in real time. I got a lot of love for Bill Self, and he's over exceeded the expectation. You know, he had some big shoes to fill coming in for Roy, and he did more and then some. And you know, it's always his job to turn down as of now, but he is a legend. And like I said, my relationship with Bill Self is no different than my relationship with Roy Williams. It's just that I wasn't coached from Bill Self, but I'm a Kansas Jayhawk, and he's the head coach of the Jayhawks, and so be it.
Hey, tell us what you think about our team. I know obviously you're a sharp basketball mind, night in and night out. You're with the Wizards, but like a lot of guys, former Jayhawks, keeping an eye on the team, checking in when you can. I know you haven't seen in person, but what are your impressions of this year's team, and what are you looking forward to having little Drew witness in person?
First of all, we talking about old age. We got some OGs on the team. I looked at the age group of all these guys. I was like, wow, we got some 23-year-olds, 22-year-olds, grown men out there. So that's for one, coming into the gate, having some experience. Hunter Dickinson, I watched him. He's from the DMV area. I watched him in his years in DeMatha, all the way from team takeover in AAU days with Armando Baycott. What else? When he went to Michigan, things didn't work out over there. He came to, when I found out he was coming to Kansas, I was excited, extremely.
Yeah, big for the big fellas.
Yeah, it's huge. And I knew he was going to have it wasn't no secret to me, he was going to have the season he's having right now. What do you have? 30 points of the last game, shooting the ball lights out. You know, he has a chance. I think he's underrated, and I think when guys stay in school longer now, it's kind of a knock, which it shouldn't be. But I think he's going to have a chance to play at the next level.
And I think what Bill's done a really good job of, whether he's doing it on purpose or what, we've had a lot of seniors, a lot of really good seniors. In this day and age of college basketball, when you look at Devontae Graham, you look at Frank Mason, you look at Ochai, still had another year, but he played, maybe he only played 3. But we've had guys that stuck it out in an era that you don't usually stick it out. And here's Hunter Dickinson. He actually has another year. I want to get your take on.
I did not. He has another year. Wow.
Yeah, his freshman year was COVID, so he can obviously play this year and next year. Now,
wow.
The question I have for you, Drew, you know the NBA as good as anybody. You know Hunter Dickinson. He's dominating college basketball. We saw last year Oscar Tshiebwe, Drew Timme, and Sanogo from Connecticut not get drafted. They were great big guys in college basketball. They aren't playing in the NBA right now. Maybe they'll get their chance. Where do you put Hunter Dickinson with the year? Let's say he continues this year, averages a double-double. Kansas has an amazing year, hopefully into the national title. Does that make Hunter any different this year than he was last year? And what are his prospects in the NBA?
Well, the NBA scouts, they look at what you can do great, and it could be one thing. And what is that one thing that you can bring to the table to help an NBA team win a game? I know a lot of teams, in specific, the New Orleans Pelicans, when they scout, they look at college guys that average either 2+ blocks, or 2+ steals, just defensive mentality type of guys. And it kind of works for their system. Can Hunter block shots at a high rate? Can he, if he can't block shots, can he take charges? Can he alter shots at the rim? I mean, just because you don't block a shot, can you be disruptive in the paint? That's key. And what's his ceiling? can he shoot that three? Can he extend his range and be able to be a stretch five? Because that's valuable now. Because I don't think he's right now a live threat in the NBA. I think he has the potential to be a pick and pop spot up threat that can be a possible rim protector. And also he's an underrated passer. I think the ceiling for Hunter could possibly be like you guys remember Brad Miller? And I hate comparing. People always say, why do people always compare black guys?
Greg will say that. Greg will say that.
Hey, look,
I'm glad you said that.
I've been watching Hunter. Listen, I've been watching Hunter since he was in 9th grade, 10th grade at DeMatha, who I do the games with Chris Miller. His son, Donovan Miller, was his point guard in high school. So I've watched Hunter since high school, and I always said, Brad Miller, he plays like Brad Miller. I always said it, like whether he was going to be at Kansas or not. And I always knew he had a chance, a possibility of playing at the next level. But I'm just happy he's a Jayhawk, and it's working out for him. He's having these breakout games, and Bill Self, he's going to hold you accountable. NBA coaches and scouts know that. So he's coming from a good program. That's probably the biggest thing working out for him, that they know he's coming from a blue blood school, and he's going to be learning the tools needed to succeed at the next level.
Wayne, did you see the twinkle in my eye when Drew said that? So Wayne and I have this conversation all the time. We have big conversations about all things basketball. Like, who do we compare Kirk Heinrich to? Steve Nash. Does that mean that he's not like Tim Hardaway? Or I'm glad you said that, because
I'm guilty too. I was comparing Grady Dick to Danny Ainge. I was like, I can't find nobody else.
Hey, Wayne, who do we compare Grady Dick to? Who? Mike Dunleavy. Who else? We had a couple last year, but I think he's a little bit more athletic than Mike, though. He's a little bit more
Kyle Korver. But I will say my Hunter Dickinson comparison from a high ceiling. This is high ceiling for me, Drew. In the league would be like a Brooke Lopez.
Exactly. That was going to be my.
So there, I broke the mold right there. I broke the mold. I broke the barrier there.
That's where the rim protection, paint protection, and being able to stretch out to three is valuable. It's so valuable now in today's age. Like, you have to be able to knock down that three at the center slot if you're not a live threat.
Yeah. We love this question. All right, Drew, you've been removed from Kansas now for 20 plus years. Guys are getting paid NIL. How much money would you have made as a Kansas Jayhawk in the NIL?
I came from humble beginnings. So, I mean, the scholarship check that we were getting, what was it, $300, $400 if we were lucky?
$392. $392.
When that check came, I was feeling like a boss.
Oak Park Mall, watch out. Air Pinners, watch out.
Pull up with some gift cards. But I don't know. That's a tough question, but it's interesting because we had a team. I don't know. I don't know what that number is. I just know that when it was all said and done, I was preparing for the draft my junior year. We're coming off the Final Four. We didn't win it. I had some big time autograph signings where it was some lucrative deals that were going on around Kansas City area. So I don't know what that kind of equates to now in 2024, but I think it's good. I think it's good I'm happy for the kids to be able to get this money. But one thing that scares me about the kids getting all this money, and I call them kids because I'm older now. They're kids. But what scares me is the desire, the hunger to want more, to do more, receiving that much money at such a young age. For us, I didn't think I was going to the NBA. I was there to get an academic scholarship, hopefully play overseas. If I was lucky, everything just worked out for me. Now, I think if you would have gave me an NIL deal my freshman year, and then you give me $1 million, and I have to go to a Roy Williams practice, I'm gonna be like, I don't know if I might make this one tonight.
And the three
approach. Am I right?
Yeah, and the three of us know better than anybody because we played for Roy Williams, and he retired right around the time this all came up. I don't know if he'll ever admit it, but knowing Coach Williams the way the three of us know him, this would not be a good thing because you'd have locker room talk. Wayne got this, Drew got this. It would drive him crazy. And what we always say is coaches at this point are either going to do one of two things, well, maybe three: retire because they don't like it, embrace it, or they're going to get left behind, or not take advantage of it and get left behind. And that's, I don't think he wanted to put that much into it because he believes that, like a lot of old timers, that this is how it is. You got a scholarship, you get your $392 a month, you come to practice, it's a team. Just because someone's calling you offering more money, you should want to stay because you're part of a team.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of different dynamics, pros and cons that go on to play in this. And I just wish for the best. I actually got approached by a party or a group of people that were trying to petition the NIL deals and take it to Congress and do all those things. And I heard them out. But after I actually listened to everything, I was like, I can't sign off on this. I'm actually for like these college kids, if they're able to make money and have companies sponsor them, so be it. I'd rather have it be out in the open than under the table, and then these schools are getting penalized for this stuff anyway. So I was always for it. But then now I'm looking at now that we got a small sample size, can we get some data in the next 5-10 years? Is this actually working or is this hurting the kids?
Well, it's the tube. The tube is out of the toothpaste. The difficulty to get it back in. I just think the way they put it out there is, to a degree, anything goes. And then if you try to dial that back and limit a kid's ability to make money, if you restrict, just the word restrict is going to be sued, right? So it is.
And then they're on to the next school.
Wayne and I live in this space because we have to do it. We had a great conversation. What was it, about a year ago, Wayne, when Keith Langford was in town, and Keith just asked us questions and a lot of negative questions like, well, how's this going to work? Keith and Drew, you guys you're so cognizant of everything that goes on and you understand it. And Wayne and I were like, those were all really good questions. And unfortunately, we don't have great answers.
Yeah. I think only time will tell.
Yeah.
But Drew, you also know a lot of the dynamics that college kids are now having to navigate through NIL are waiting for them not only in the NBA locker room, but waiting for them in every other professional sector on the other side of that. And we can tap into that another time. One thing that I want to highlight about you is for me one of your most impressive career highlights. And I mean, my goodness, first team All-American, Player of the Year in the Big 12, in the country, 16-0 in the league during that time, and then of course 15-year career in the NBA. Left early, but came back to graduate. One of my favorite pictures, I even have it on my phone, is a picture on graduation day with you, cap and gown, not with the other guys that came in your class, but it was you. And you remember who the other guy was?
Frank Mason?
Frank Mason, right. Yeah, you and Frank Mason in front of Strong Hall years after you had left. Now, the reason why I want you to talk about this is because I think it's so important. Look, we're Kansas. We're going to have guys that are talented enough to leave early and go pursue their professional careers. Talk about, number one, guys that do leave still have an opportunity to come back and do what you did, do what Thomas Robinson's done, do what several others have done, come back and graduate. But also, every Kansas player that has the opportunity to leave early, sure, is going to leave with some type of deficiency, right? Their game's not going to be perfect. But guess what? Guys get better and develop at the next level too. And there isn't any KU fan out there, very few, that actually say, oh, yeah, no, that guy should go. Like, they all want him to stay, right? They all want him to stay, to get the degree, and to continue to develop as a player. Talk about it from your experience. You choosing to leave the end of your junior year, but then in that process, continuing to develop your skill to where you have a 15-year NBA career, and then also developing in your maturity and the timing to say, hey, you know what, that degree that I eventually started is important enough to me to work to finish, even while you're playing in the NBA?
That's a great question. Honestly, I promised my mom and I promised Roy Williams I was going to graduate. I think that was like the side deal. If you want to leave early, you got to promise me you graduate with my mom, right? And
that's great.
But really though, I hate leaving stuff unfinished. Like I just started thinking all those, like, why we go to school, we wake up and go to school every day since like kindergarten. So I was like, kindergarten for me was like 1985, 86. So I was waking up every morning, my dad getting me ready, my mom's getting me ready, driving me to school, dropping me off, just all of that every day. Up until the point I went to college. Like, was that just all a waste? Is what I started to think. Like, did they do that all for nothing? Like, was it all just a waste of time? Like, I don't have anything to show for it. So that always bothered me. And it was just something that in the back of my mind is, man, I got this far. Why not finish? And that was always like I will always have this reoccurring. I call it a nightmare. I don't have it anymore since I graduated, but I used to have this nightmare where I'll wake up out of my sleep and I'm panicking because I don't know where my classes are. I'm like on this campus. I don't know where the campus is. I don't know who my teachers are. I don't know where my classes are. All I know is I keep getting a report card and it's like all F's, and I just don't know how to. Like I don't know who to talk to, and it's like a reoccurring nightmare I was having. And you know what? When I graduated, up until the last class I took, I never had that dream again, and it was just something just weighing on me that I had to get done. And then, I didn't tell my mom. I mean, it took me 14 years, almost 15 years to finish one year of my senior year of college. It was not easy. And I didn't tell my mom I finished, and I promised Roy Williams I didn't tell him I finished either. I just literally sent them a handwritten letter that and a copy of my diploma, one to Roy Williams, one to my mom, and say, hey, I promised you guys this back in 2002. Finally got it done. It was 2000.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And we just don't hear stories like that enough. I'm so glad you told it. Wayne and I were talking the other day about DeJuan Harris. DeJuan Harris is going to go down as one of the greatest stories of all time. Massive academic risk for Kansas to take him. 3.7 GPA, is going to graduate from college. NIL has been a huge deal for him and his family. So there's so many good stories that we tend to only tell the bad ones. We only talk about when there's somebody gets in trouble or whatever. We don't talk about the Drew Gooden getting his degree for really. I mean, it's as far as it's more for your head and Roy Williams and your mom than it was for you to get another job or whatever. I mean, I'm not dumbing down being a broadcaster, but you don't need a degree to be a broadcaster. But
absolutely. I just got thrown right in the fire. You know what I'm saying? Figure it out.
No, it's the same with me. They asked me to do it, and I was like, I've never done it before. And a lot of people that watch this podcast will say, yeah, it looks like you've never done it before. But same deal. Former players, they want you to do broadcasting. Wayne does a great job with the Jayhawker Television Network and player. But back to my we really promote the negative and not enough of the positive. So I'm so glad you told that story, and we need to do a better job of recognizing it and putting it out there.
Absolutely, yeah. And then it didn't stop because I recently received my certificate in business excellence, from the Columbia Business School. So that was something I continued to grow on and just needed more to feel complete as far as my business acumen. And it didn't stop just because I got it from Kansas. Now I have another alma mater in Columbia Business School. So
How about
it's
that,
it's a
Wayne?
great,
You see the way he just kind of glossed over that Columbia.
yeah. So it can be done. If I did it, it can be done.
Man, an
Trust
Ivy
me.
Leaguer. Man, he a Hall of Famer, an Ivy Leaguer.
Honestly, but the facts, the real, I'm not gonna cap. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. The Columbia stuff was just for my LinkedIn page to look a lot better. On the business side, it looked a little. The Kansas is great, but then when you add the Columbia with it with the business, it
little
kind of
validation.
changes.
Yeah.
Hey, this has been great. I love that you still follow Kansas basketball. How often, Wayne and I get our time with Coach Williams. He'll come back here and again, talk to us. How often do you communicate with Coach Williams?
I talked to Coach Williams about a month ago. Something told me to check in on him. He's getting up there in age, along with his wife Wanda, and just something told me to just call him and check on him. And we text back and forth. He's in good spirits. I was like, he's not. This is like his second or third year not coaching. Maybe what now? 4 years now?
At
Is it
least
4?
3. This might be the fourth.
Fourth.
Yeah.
This is fourth.
I think
Yeah, this is fourth.
that's how quick it's going. So I had to check on him. There's only so much golf you can play. So, but he's in good. He's in good spirits, great spirits, and is doing good in North Carolina. Traveling, he has some grandkids that he's looking after and watching them play sports now. So he's in great spirit.
If you ever want to see him, all you got to do is turn on a North Carolina game. He seems to be.
Oh, he's there.
He's there.
And Wanda. You can't miss him.
Wayne,
baby blue vest on every time.
Wayne and I got the opportunity to go to. How about that? We talked about California players, and I don't think any of the three of us mentioned Paul Pierce. Which that's
no, I said Pierce. Yeah, I said Pierce. Yeah, no doubt.
Okay. So, but Wayne and I went to his Hall of Fame induction, and after the deal, we went to dinner with Coach Williams and had a great 2-3 hour visit with him, which was a lot of fun. That was just a couple of years ago.
Yeah. He's a lot nicer the older you get, right?
Well, because that little guy can put the fear of God in you. Like he can mess with your playing time. He can mess with your make you throw up. Some of ours. I guarantee you that some of your worst days were the same as mine. That was after a loss in Allen Fieldhouse.
Well, that's that gut check. Just real quick, I had a talk with Brad Doherty, who played at North Carolina. Roy Williams was actually his Little League baseball coach. And Brad Doherty, he was an all-star, NBA Hall of Famer, played with the Cavaliers.
Yeah, with the Cavs, legend.
Yeah, legend. So he does the broadcast for the Cavaliers. And this is the connection that we're talking about, still having these conversations, because there's a Carolina connection through Roy Williams for us as well. And I asked Brad, I said, listen, Roy put that dog in us, didn't he? He was like, man, did he? He didn't put up with nothing soft. And I said, man, you know what? And I approach everything in life just like that. I see why he would not let me just go halfway, and why he always commanded and demanded 100% of Drew Gooden, and I see why. So, and that's why he was like that. But he's a lot nicer now.
Well, Drew, it's been awesome. I'm here in Orlando. We came a day early because of the snow in Kansas. Got here on Monday night. We play tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to seeing you. I'm glad we're down here. I'm glad you're going to be able to see your Jayhawks. Maybe not every year, but at least every other year, it sounds like, with this unbalanced schedule. Looking forward to welcoming our new member into the Big 12, and hopefully we welcome them with a bang and we get out of here with a 25-point win.
Yeah, well, I just hope the weather's a lot better. I think we're supposed to have a storm coming in as well. So you left one storm to come into a rainstorm. So get ready.
Yeah, I'm here shoveling snow. I'll be here shoveling snow. You guys enjoy the fun of the sun down there in Orlando. I'm gonna get back on the driveway.
All right, Wayne, be careful, don't slip.
Hey, Drew, appreciate you. Thanks for the time. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
No problem, Greg.
Kansas legend, Drew Gooden, Rock Chalk.